In a quiet village nestled at the edge of a serene forest, there was a young monk named Rio who struggled with a dark cloud of negativity hanging over his mind. Every day he felt overwhelmed by self-doubt and pessimism, and it was starting to affect his spiritual practice. He wondered if he would ever find peace amidst his turbulent thoughts. One morning, as Rio wandered through the forest seeking solace, he came across a wise Zen master named Haru. Haru was known for his profound wisdom and serene demeanor. Rio approached him, hoping to find some guidance. Haru listened patiently as Rio shared his concerns. "Master, I feel as if negativity is consuming me," Rio said. "No matter how hard I try, I can't seem to escape these dark thoughts. How can I find peace when my mind is filled with such negativity?" Haru smiled gently and began to explain. "Rio, our minds are like a garden. If we allow negative thoughts to take root, they will grow into weeds that choke out the beauty of our inner peace. Just as a gardener must tend to their garden, we must tend to our minds." Rio looked puzzled. "But how can I remove these weeds from my mind? It feels like they are everywhere." The Zen master replied, "It begins with awareness. By recognizing the negative thoughts as they arise, we can start to change our relationship with them. Imagine each negative thought as a seed. If we don't address them, they will grow and spread." Haru then shared a story with Rio. Long ago, there was a monk who lived in a temple surrounded by beautiful gardens. One day, he noticed that weeds were starting to invade the garden. He could have ignored them, but he chose to address them immediately. By carefully removing each weed, he ensured that the garden remained lush and vibrant. Rio listened intently. "So, you're saying that I need to address each negative thought as it arises, rather than letting it take root?" "Exactly," Haru affirmed. "When a negative thought appears, observe it without judgment. Acknowledge it, but don't let it control your mind. By doing this consistently, you will gradually create a more peaceful inner environment." The young monk nodded, beginning to understand the wisdom behind Haru's words. "But what if I find it difficult to let go of these thoughts?" Haru's eyes sparkled with understanding. "It takes practice and patience. Meditation can be a powerful tool in this process. By training your mind to focus on the present moment, you can learn to let go of negative thoughts more easily." Rio felt a sense of hope as he listened. "I will try to apply what you've taught me. Thank you, Master Haru." Haru placed a reassuring hand on Rio's shoulder. "Remember, the journey of transforming your mindset is gradual. Be gentle with yourself and trust the process." As Rio walked away, he felt a glimmer of optimism for the first time in a long while. The wisdom he received from Haru gave him a new perspective on how to handle his negative thoughts. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to cultivate a more positive and peaceful mindset. Before he left the forest, Rio turned back to thank Haru once more. "I will keep your teachings in mind, Master. I hope to return one day and share my progress with you." The Zen master smiled warmly. "I look forward to it, Rio. And remember, each step you take towards a positive mindset is a step towards inner peace." As Rio continued his journey, he carried with him the valuable lesson of addressing negativity before it could take hold. He was ready to begin his practice of nurturing a more peaceful and positive mind. Rio returned to his temple with a newfound sense of purpose. Each day, he practiced mindfulness and meditation, striving to implement the teachings he had received from Master Haru. The journey was not without its challenges. The weeds of negativity were persistent, but Rio was determined to cultivate a more peaceful mind. As he sat in meditation one morning, Rio found himself overwhelmed by a torrent of negative thoughts. Doubts about his abilities, worries about the future, and regrets from the past crowded his mind. It was as if the dark clouds Haru had spoken of were gathering once more. Remembering Haru's advice, Rio focused on observing his thoughts rather than becoming entangled in them. He visualized each negative thought as a leaf floating down a stream, passing by without disturbing the water. By adopting this perspective, he was able to create some distance between himself and his thoughts. One day, as Rio walked through the temple gardens, he noticed the beautiful flowers and plants flourishing. However, he also saw a few weeds beginning to sprout among the vibrant foliage. Rio recalled Haru's story about the monk who had diligently removed weeds from his garden. Determined to practice what he had learned, Rio began to pull out the weeds one by one. As he did so, he reflected on the similarities between tending to the garden and tending to his mind. Just as he had to be patient and gentle with the plants, he needed to be patient and compassionate with himself as he worked through his negative thoughts. While working in the garden, Ryo encountered an elderly monk named Jiro, who was known for his wisdom and gentle demeanor. Observing Ryo's efforts, Jiro approached him with a kind smile. "Ryo, I see you're hard at work. What brings you to the garden today?" Jiro inquired. Ryo explained, "I've been trying to apply Master Haru's teachings about addressing negative thoughts. Just as I'm removing weeds from the garden, I'm working to address each negative thought in my mind." Jiro nodded thoughtfully. "That's a wise approach. However, remember that not all thoughts are inherently negative. Sometimes what we perceive as negativity is a signal that we need to address underlying issues or fears." Ryo pondered Jiro's words. "So you're saying that instead of simply removing negative thoughts, I should also seek to understand them?" "Yes," Jiro affirmed. "Understanding the root of your thoughts can help you address them more effectively. For example, if you're feeling anxious about the future, it might be helpful to explore why you feel this way and what actions you can take to alleviate that anxiety." Ryo appreciated Jiro's insight and realized that his practice needed to encompass not only the removal of negative thoughts, but also a deeper understanding of their origins. This approach would allow him to address the core issues rather than merely dealing with the symptoms. As days passed, Ryo continued his meditation practice with renewed focus. He used mindfulness to observe his thoughts and employed self-inquiry to understand their roots. When he encountered persistent negativity, he asked himself questions to uncover underlying fears or unresolved issues. One evening, while reflecting on his day, Ryo realized that his fear of failure was a significant source of his negative thoughts. He had always been worried about not meeting expectations, both his own and those of others. This fear had clouded his judgment and contributed to his inner turmoil. Ryo decided to confront this fear directly. He reminded himself of the teachings he had received. Negativity could destroy his mindset if left unchecked. By understanding and addressing the root of his fears, he could begin to transform his mindset from one of anxiety to one of confidence and clarity. As Ryo continued his journey, he found that his efforts to cultivate a positive mindset were gradually paying off. The practice of awareness and understanding allowed him to deal with negativity more effectively. His inner garden began to flourish with a sense of peace and resilience. Before long, Ryo felt a deeper connection with the teachings of Master Haru and Jiro. He understood that addressing negativity required both observation and introspection. With these tools, he was learning to navigate the challenges of his mind and nurture a more harmonious inner landscape. As Ryo continued his journey of self-discovery and mindfulness, he began to notice changes not only within himself, but also in his interactions with others. He realized that the company he kept had a significant impact on his mindset. Encouraged by his progress, Ryo sought to surround himself with individuals who would support his quest for inner peace. One day, Ryo met with Master Haru to share his experiences and seek further guidance. As they sat by a tranquil pond, the Zen master listened intently to Ryo's reflections. "Master Haru," Ryo began, "I've noticed that my interactions with others have begun to affect my mindset. I find myself feeling more at peace when I am surrounded by positive and supportive people, but I am troubled when I encounter negativity from others." Haru nodded with understanding. "Indeed, our environment and the people we interact with can greatly influence our mental state. It's important to cultivate relationships that support your growth and well-being. However, it's also essential to remember that you have the power to maintain your inner peace regardless of external circumstances." Ryo thought about Haru's words. "How can I remain steadfast in my mindfulness when faced with negativity from those around me?" Haru replied, "It begins with maintaining your own clarity and composure. When others express negativity, observe their words and actions without becoming entangled in them. Recognize that their negativity is a reflection of their own struggles and not a reflection of your worth or state of mind." The Zen master then shared a story to illustrate his point. There was once a wise monk who lived in a village where gossip and negativity were common. Despite the negative atmosphere, the monk remained serene and focused on his practice. When asked how he maintained his peace, he replied, "I do not allow the noise of the world to disturb the calm of my mind. I am like a still pond. I reflect the world's surface, but remain undisturbed beneath. Rio was inspired by the monk's example. I understand, Master. By maintaining my inner composure, I can avoid being swayed by the negativity around me. Haru smiled. Exactly. You can choose to be a beacon of positivity and calm, even in challenging situations. Your presence can influence others in a subtle but powerful way. Determined to practice this lesson, Rio began to observe his interactions more closely. He noticed that when he approached others with a positive and open mindset, it often led to more harmonious and uplifting exchanges. Conversely, when he allowed himself to be affected by negativity, it created a ripple effect that often led to discord. One evening, Rio encountered a fellow monk named Kenji, who was known for his tendency to complain and criticize. Kenji was expressing frustration about various aspects of temple life, and Rio could sense the negativity in his words. Recalling Haru's teachings, Rio chose to approach the conversation with empathy and understanding. Instead of responding with frustration or defensiveness, he listened attentively and offered kind words of encouragement. To Ryo's surprise, Kenji's demeanor began to shift. The negative energy in the conversation gradually dissipated, and Kenji seemed more open and receptive. Rio realized that by remaining centered and positive, he was able to influence the interaction in a constructive way. This experience reinforced the importance of surrounding oneself with positive influences while also being a positive force in the lives of others. Rio understood that his mindset could be shaped not only by the company he kept, but also by the attitude he brought to his interactions. As he continued his practice, Rio became more mindful of the energy he brought into his relationships. He sought to engage with others in a way that reflected the inner peace he was cultivating. In doing so, he created a ripple effect of positivity that extended beyond himself. Rio's journey was far from over, but he felt more equipped to navigate the challenges of his mind and the world around him. The lessons he had learned about awareness, understanding, and the influence of companionship were becoming integral parts of his path to inner peace. As Rio deepened his practice of mindfulness and began to understand the influence of his environment, he realized the importance of reflection in his journey towards inner peace. Reflecting on his experiences and emotions allowed him to gain greater insight into his own mind and make meaningful changes. One afternoon, Rio sat by a quiet stream, taking time to reflect on his recent interactions and inner state. He observed the gentle flow of the water and the way it mirrored the surrounding landscape. This moment of stillness reminded him of the importance of reflecting on his own thoughts and actions. Rio remembered a conversation he had with Master Haru about the value of self-reflection. Haru had emphasized that reflection was not merely an exercise in self-criticism, but a way to gain clarity and make conscious choices about one's mindset. As he pondered his journey, Rio thought about the times when he had allowed negativity to take over his mind. He recalled moments when he felt overwhelmed by self-doubt and frustration, and how those feelings had affected his interactions with others. Realizing that understanding his past experiences could help him avoid similar pitfalls in the future, Rio began to question himself more deeply. What triggered these negative thoughts? Were there specific situations or events that contributed to my feelings of doubt and anxiety? Rio considered moments when he had faced challenges or criticism and recognized patterns in his reactions. He noticed that when he felt insecure, he often responded with defensiveness or avoidance, which only reinforced his negative mindset. He also reflected on the positive experiences that had brought him joy and satisfaction. These moments of clarity and contentment often arose when he was fully present and engaged in his practice, free from the distractions of self-doubt. In his reflection, Rio came to understand that his negative thoughts were often linked to a fear of failure and a desire for external validation. He realized that by focusing too much on others' opinions and expectations, he was allowing his peace of mind to be dependent on external factors. To address this, Rio decided to shift his focus inward and cultivate a sense of self-worth that was independent of external validation. He began to practice self-compassion, acknowledging his efforts and progress without judgment. As part of his reflection process, Rio started keeping a journal to document his thoughts, feelings, and insights. This practice allowed him to track his emotional patterns and gain a clearer understanding of his mindset. Each entry became a mirror reflecting his inner state, and helping him identify areas for growth. One evening, Rio shared his reflections with Elder Jiro, who had become a trusted friend and mentor. "Jiro, I've been reflecting on my experiences and the impact of my thoughts on my mindset. I've realized that my fear of failure and desire for validation have been major sources of negativity in my life." Jiro listened attentively and nodded. "It's commendable that you're taking the time to reflect on these aspects of your mind. Self-awareness is a crucial step in transforming your mindset. By understanding your fears and desires, you can begin to address them and cultivate a more positive outlook." Jiro offered a practical exercise for Rio to incorporate into his reflection practice. Each day, set aside time to review your journal entries and identify any recurring themes or patterns. Use this awareness to make conscious choices about how you respond to challenges and negative thoughts. Rio took Jiro's advice to heart and continued his journaling practice with renewed commitment. He found that reflecting on his experiences helped him gain a deeper understanding of his own mind and allowed him to make more mindful choices. Through this process, Rio began to notice positive changes in his mindset. He felt more resilient in the face of challenges and more grounded in his sense of self-worth. The act of reflection had become a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace and navigating the complexities of his thoughts and emotions. As Rio moved forward on his journey, he remained committed to the practice of reflection. He knew that understanding his mind and its patterns was an ongoing process, and he approached it with patience and curiosity. The lessons he learned about self-awareness and reflection were becoming integral to his path. With each step, Rio felt more equipped to maintain a positive mindset and foster a sense of inner harmony, regardless of external circumstances. As Rio continued his journey of mindfulness and self-reflection, he encountered a crucial aspect of personal growth: embracing change. He learned that change, while often challenging, was a natural and essential part of life. How he responded to change could greatly influence his mental well-being and inner peace. One day, the temple where Rio resided underwent significant changes. The head monk announced that there would be a reorganization of responsibilities among the monks. Rio, who had grown accustomed to his routine, felt apprehensive about the upcoming changes. He worried that the new responsibilities might disrupt his practice and affect his sense of stability. Feeling unsettled, Rio sought guidance from Master Haru. As they sat together in a tranquil garden, Rio shared his concerns about the changes and his fear of losing his sense of control. "Master Haru," Rio began, "I'm struggling with the recent changes at the temple. I fear that my routine will be disrupted, and I'm anxious about how this will affect my practice and mindset." Haru listened attentively and responded with gentle wisdom. "Change is an inevitable part of life, Rio. It is natural to feel uncertain when faced with new circumstances. However, it is important to remember that change offers opportunities for growth and transformation." The Zen master continued, "When you embrace change with an open heart and mind, you allow yourself to adapt and flourish. Just as the seasons change, so do the circumstances of our lives. By accepting and adapting to these changes, you can maintain your inner peace and continue to grow." To illustrate his point, Haru shared a story about a bamboo tree. In a dense forest, there was a bamboo grove. Bamboo is known for its flexibility and resilience. Unlike other trees that might break under the weight of a storm, bamboo bends with the wind and emerges unscathed. Its strength lies in its ability to adapt to change. Rio listened intently, drawing inspiration from the story. "So you're saying that by being flexible and adaptable, I can maintain my peace of mind even in the face of change?" Haru nodded. "Yes, precisely. Embracing change involves letting go of attachment to the familiar and being open to new possibilities. When you approach change with a sense of curiosity and acceptance, you allow yourself to grow and evolve." Determined to practice this lesson, Rio began to approach the changes at the temple with a more positive mindset. Instead of resisting the new responsibilities, he chose to view them as opportunities to learn and develop new skills. He approached each task with an open heart, focusing on the present moment rather than dwelling on what might be lost. Rio also took time to reflect on the impermanence of life. He remembered that everything, including his own thoughts and emotions, was subject to change. By accepting this impermanence, he found it easier to let go of his fears and embrace the flow of life. In the weeks that followed, Ryo noticed a shift in his perspective. The changes at the temple, which had initially seemed daunting, became opportunities for growth. He found that by embracing the new responsibilities with a sense of openness, he was able to integrate them into his practice seamlessly. Ryo's experience with change also had a positive impact on his interactions with others. He approached his relationships with a greater sense of flexibility and understanding, recognizing that people, like situations, were also subject to change. This new perspective allowed him to foster more harmonious and supportive connections. One evening, Ryo met with Elder Jiro to share his experiences. Jiro, embracing change has been a transformative experience for me. I've learned to approach new circumstances with curiosity and acceptance, and it has helped me maintain my inner peace. Jiro smiled warmly. It's wonderful to hear that you've embraced the lessons of change. Remember, every change brings with it a chance for growth and self-discovery. By remaining open and adaptable, you continue to nurture your inner strength and resilience. Ryo's journey was far from over, but he felt more equipped to handle the challenges of life with grace and composure. The lessons he had learned about embracing change and adapting to new circumstances were becoming integral parts of his path to inner peace. As he continued his practice, Ryo remained committed to cultivating a mindset that embraced the ebb and flow of life. He knew that change was an inevitable part of his journey, and he faced it with a sense of openness and acceptance. As Ryo's journey through mindfulness and self-discovery progressed, he began to recognize a profound truth. The journey to inner peace was not just about addressing external challenges, but also about understanding and nurturing the inner self. The true essence of his practice lay in the continuous journey within. One day while sitting in meditation, Ryo felt a deep sense of tranquility enveloping him. He realized that his journey was not a destination, but a continuous process of exploration and growth. The more he delved into his inner world, the more he discovered about himself and his path to inner peace. Reflecting on his experiences, Ryo understood that addressing negativity, embracing change, and cultivating positive relationships were all interconnected aspects of his journey. Each lesson had contributed to a greater understanding of his own mind and its patterns. He recalled Master Haru's teachings about the garden of the mind and how maintaining inner peace required ongoing effort and awareness. Just as a garden needs regular tending to flourish, so too did his mind need consistent care and mindfulness. Determined to deepen his practice, Ryo began to explore new aspects of meditation and self-inquiry. He sought to understand the nature of his thoughts and emotions more deeply, recognizing that true transformation came from within. One evening, Ryo visited a quiet temple located in a remote part of the forest. The temple was known for its peaceful ambiance and the wisdom of its resident monks. Ryo felt drawn to this place, sensing that it would offer him further insights into his journey. As he arrived at the temple, he was greeted by a wise monk named Daichi. Daichi had a reputation for his profound understanding of the self and was known for guiding others on their inner journeys. Ryo approached Daichi and shared his experiences and reflections. Master Daichi, I've been on a journey to cultivate inner peace and address negativity. I've learned to embrace change and understand my mind, but I seek further guidance on how to continue this journey within. Daichi welcomed Ryo with a warm smile. The journey within is a continuous process, Ryo. It involves delving deeper into your own mind and uncovering the layers of conditioning and belief that may be clouding your true self. It's about discovering the essence of who you are beyond your thoughts and emotions. Daichi then offered Ryo a valuable practice. Spend time in solitude and silence, allowing yourself to connect with your inner self. Observe your thoughts and feelings without attachment, and practice self-compassion as you navigate your inner landscape. Ryo took Daichi's advice to heart and spent several days in the temple's serene surroundings, embracing solitude and silence. He dedicated time to deep meditation and introspection, allowing himself to connect with his inner essence. During this period of reflection, Ryo experienced moments of profound clarity and insight. He began to recognize the inherent peace and wisdom within himself, beyond the fluctuations of his thoughts and emotions. He understood that his true self was a reservoir of tranquility and strength. As Ryo's journey within continued, he felt a deeper sense of unity with the teachings he had received from Master Haru, Elder Jiro, and now Master Daichi. Each teacher had contributed to his understanding of inner peace, and he felt grateful for their guidance. Before leaving the temple, Ryo expressed his gratitude to Daiichi. Master Daiichi, my time here has been transformative. I've gained a deeper understanding of myself and the essence of inner peace. Thank you for guiding me on this journey. Daiichi smiled gently. Remember, Ryo, the journey within is an ongoing exploration. Continue to practice mindfulness, embrace change, and nurture positive relationships. Your inner peace is a continuous journey, and each step you take brings you closer to the essence of who you are. With newfound wisdom and a deeper connection to his inner self, Ryo returned to his temple, ready to continue his practice with renewed dedication. He understood that the journey to inner peace was not about reaching a final destination, but about embracing each moment with awareness and openness. As he walked the path of mindfulness and self-discovery, Ryo remained committed to nurturing his inner garden and exploring the depths of his being. He knew that the journey within was a lifelong process, and he approached it with a sense of curiosity and grace. The lessons he had learned about negativity, change, and self-awareness had become integral to his path. With each step, Ryo felt more connected to the peace and wisdom that resided within him, and he continued to cultivate a harmonious and fulfilling life. In this story, Ryo, a devoted monk, embarks on a journey to overcome negativity and cultivate inner peace. Guided by Master Haru, Ryo learns to observe his thoughts without judgment and embrace his true self beyond surface-level emotions. Through mindfulness and self-reflection, he discovers how negativity and external influences impact his mindset and how to manage them effectively. Part of Ryo's growth involves understanding the importance of positive companionship and how it affects his inner state. He learns to surround himself with supportive people while maintaining his own sense of tranquility when faced with negativity. Ryo's interactions become more harmonious as he remains centered and positive, influencing others subtly. Ryo also explores the significance of embracing change. When faced with a reorganization at the temple, he initially struggles with anxiety, but learns from Master Haru that flexibility and openness to change are crucial for maintaining inner peace. Embracing change becomes a vital aspect of his practice, allowing him to adapt and grow. The journey culminates in Ryo's deeper exploration of self through solitude and meditation, guided by Master Daiichi. He discovers the profound tranquility within himself and gains clarity on his true essence. Ryo's continuous journey of mindfulness and self-awareness underscores that inner peace is an ongoing process, not a final destination. With renewed wisdom and dedication, Ryo returns to his temple, ready to apply the lessons learned about negativity, change, and self-reflection. His journey illustrates that inner peace requires ongoing practice and self-discovery, leading to a more harmonious and fulfilling life.